There comes a moment in every life when we must pause and confront a simple but powerful question. Which stage am I in right now? It is a question that does not demand perfection, but honesty. A question that invites us not to judge ourselves, but to understand ourselves. For no human being has ever risen to greatness without first recognizing the ground upon which they stand. Many people move through life unaware of their own seasons. Some are battling storms, some are climbing mountains, and others are standing at the edge of a breakthrough yet remain blind to it. But the truth is this: your power begins the moment you identify your stage, because when you know where you are, you can decide where you're going. I have seen people remain prisoners not because of chains around their bodies, but because of chains around their minds. Chains made of confusion about who they are and where they stand. And I have witnessed in every corner of the world that the ones who transform their lives are not the ones with perfect circumstances, but the ones who dare to look at themselves with courage and clarity. Today, I ask you to walk into that courage, to examine your journey, to face your truth without fear. Because the stage you are in is not a life sentence, it is a stepping stone. And once you recognize it, you unlock the power to rise above it. So before you aim for greatness, before you demand change from the world, demand recognition from within. Ask yourself with a brave and open heart, which stage am I in? For the answer to that question may be the beginning of the greatest chapter of your life. Every journey begins with acknowledgement, because no human being can rise beyond the truth they refuse to face. When we look at our lives with honesty, we discover the ground on which we are standing, and it is only from solid ground that we can take our next step toward greatness. Many people move through life believing that progress is made only by effort, but the deepest progress is made first by awareness. Awareness of your challenges, awareness of your strengths, awareness of your fears, and awareness of your potential. When you acknowledge your stage, you gain the clarity to move forward with purpose instead of wandering without direction. Too often we judge ourselves for where we are. We compare our stage to the stage of others and allow insecurity to blind us from our own possibilities. But acknowledgement is not judgment. It is not condemnation. It is the courage to say, this is where I am, and this is where I choose to go. Every great leader, every champion, every transformed life has begun with that moment of honesty. When I reflect on the journeys of those who rose from harsh circumstances, I see a common thread. They recognize their reality and use that truth as a weapon, not as a weakness. They understood that the first step toward freedom is not movement, it is awareness. When you look at your stage, you must do so with compassion. You may find yourself in a stage of struggle, where everything feels heavy and every step forward feels like a battle. But even this stage holds meaning, for struggle is a teacher. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your character, and prepares you for the responsibilities of the next season. You may find yourself in a stage of learning, where mistakes are plentiful and lessons are constant. This too is a gift, because learning is the foundation upon which all wisdom is built. Or perhaps you are in a stage of building, where you are quietly laying bricks for a future the world cannot yet see. That stage requires patience, discipline, and faith in the unseen. Acknowledgement does not weaken you, it empowers you. It gives you the strength to stop running from your truth and start working with it. It allows you to break the chains of denial that keep so many people trapped in cycles of frustration and failure. When you acknowledge your stage, you become the author of your next chapter. You take back control of your direction, your decisions, and your destiny. You begin to rise not by accident, but by intention. So take a deep breath and look at your life with open eyes. Stand firmly in your truth, even if it is uncomfortable. For the stage you are in today is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation. And once you acknowledge where you stand, no force on earth can stop you from rising to where you are meant to be. Growth is not a straight line. It is a journey shaped by many stages, each one carrying its own meaning, its own challenges, and its own victories. Too often, people expect progress to move smoothly, as if life were a simple path where every step leads easily to the next. But true growth does not work that way. It bends, it curves, it twists, and sometimes it even takes us backwards before it pulls us forward again. And yet, in every season of life, whether bright or dark, there is a lesson that prepares us for the next chapter. There are moments when you will pass through the stage of struggle. It may feel as if everything is working against you, as if the world is testing your strength to its limits. But struggle is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are being shaped. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and so are human beings. In the stage of struggle, you learn your endurance, your courage, and your capacity to rise even when you feel broken. This stage demands patience because you cannot rush growth. But if you embrace the struggle rather than run from it, you will discover that it is building a foundation inside you that no force can destroy. Then you enter the stage of learning. This is where clarity begins to form. You start to understand the meaning of your challenges, and you gather the tools needed for your future victories. Learning is not always gentle, it is often humbling. It forces you to confront your mistakes, your weaknesses, and your blind spots. But learning is sacred because it gives you wisdom, and wisdom is what guides you through the storms that will come later. In this stage, you must remain open-minded, willing to grow, willing to listen, willing to change. The one who refuses to learn remains stuck, but the one who learns becomes unstoppable. After learning comes the stage of building. This is where you take the knowledge you have gained and begin shaping your future with deliberate action. Building is often a quiet season. There is little applause, little recognition, and sometimes little motivation. Progress may feel slow, but slow progress is still progress. Brick by brick, day by day, you are constructing a future that others cannot yet see. The building stage requires dedication, discipline, and faith. You must trust that your efforts today will create the results you seek tomorrow. Finally, you reach the stage of rising. This is the moment when the seeds you planted begin to bloom. The sacrifices you made reveal their purpose. The challenges you endured showed their meaning. Rising does not happen suddenly. It is the natural result of every stage that came before it. And when you rise, you realize something powerful. Every struggle, every lesson, every quiet hour of hard work was preparing you for this moment. Growth is not a straight line because life itself is not a straight line. But each stage, no matter how difficult or uncertain, carries the strength you need to move forward. Embrace your stage, for it is shaping the person you are becoming. Courage is required in every stage of life, but it becomes absolutely essential in the painful ones. It is easy to feel strong when everything is going well, when the path is clear and the road is smooth. But true courage reveals itself when life becomes heavy, when the burdens grow, and the answers disappear. In those moments, when fear whispers that you cannot continue, courage becomes the quiet voice that insists you must. It is the force that keeps you standing when the world expects you to fall. Painful stages are not meant to break you. They are meant to introduce you to the strength you never knew you had. There are times when life will push you into darkness, and you will feel alone, uncertain, and overwhelmed. You may question your purpose, your abilities, and even your future. But it is in these moments that courage carries its greatest power. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to surrender to it. Every person who has ever risen from hardship has done so not because they had perfect circumstances, but because they had the bravery to endure the imperfect ones. Courage becomes the fuel that pushes you forward when your heart is heavy and your steps tremble. During painful stages, many people search for escape, hoping to avoid discomfort. But avoidance does not heal. It only postpones your destiny. Courage invites you to walk through the pain, not around it. It reminds you that storms are temporary, but the lessons they bring are permanent. And when you face your trials directly, you transform them into stepping stones. Every painful moment you survive becomes a source of wisdom, resilience, and inner power. The darkest nights teach the brightest truths. Greatness is never born in comfort. Comfort keeps you still, courage moves you forward. History has shown time and time again that the individuals who changed their lives, who changed their communities, who changed the world, did so through courage forged in adversity. They were not stronger than you. They were not more gifted. They simply refused to give up when life demanded it. They chose to persevere when the easier choice was to surrender. They understood that pain is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of transformation. When you pass through the painful stages of life, you must remember that courage is your companion. It stands with you when others walk away. It whispers hope when your mind is filled with doubt. It pushes you forward when your body feels weak. And every time you choose courage, you elevate yourself to a higher stage of your own evolution. You become more disciplined, more resilient, and more certain of your purpose. So do not fear the painful stages. Do not run from them. Face them with an unshakable heart. For it is exactly in these difficult seasons that your character is forged, your strength is revealed, and your future is shaped. Courage is the light that guides you through the darkness, and once you walk through it, you emerge stronger than ever, standing firmly on the path toward your destiny. Your stage does not define your destiny, because no situation, no hardship, and no moment of struggle has the power to decide the rest of your life. Too many people believe that their praise, NT circumstances are permanent, that their failures will follow them forever, and that their current limitations will remain their reality. But life has shown us again and again that the human spirit is far greater than any temporary condition. Where you stand today is merely a chapter, not the full story. And no chapter, no matter how painful or uncertain, can hold back a person who is willing to rise. There are stages in life when you feel stuck, when doors seem closed, and when your dreams appear distant. In these moments, it is easy to think that your path is decided, that you have reached your limit. But destiny is not written by difficulty, it is written by determination. What you face today is shaping you, molding you, preparing you for the future you cannot yet see. Your struggle is not a sign that your destiny is denied. It is a sign that your destiny requires strength, patience, and growth. Every great individual has walked through seasons where they questioned their place in the world, yet they did not let that stage define who they would become. Your destiny is not defined by how you start, but by how you rise. You may come from humble beginnings. You may have made mistakes. You may have suffered losses that cut deep, but these experiences do not imprison you unless you allow them to. They can become the very foundation upon which you build your triumph. History is filled with examples of people who rose from the lowest stages of life to achieve the greatest heights, not because their circumstances were favorable, but because their spirit refused to bow. The human soul carries within it a seed of victory, and that seed grows strongest in the soil of adversity. When you understand that your stage does not determine your destiny, you begin to take ownership of your future. You stop seeing yourself as limited by your situation and start seeing yourself as greater than it. You realize that you have the power to change, to grow, to rebuild, and to redefine your life at any moment. The stage you are in today may be difficult, but it is not your final destination. It is a place of preparation, not a place of defeat. So never allow your present struggles to convince you that your dreams are impossible. Never allow your fears to whisper that you are not capable. And never allow your past to chain you to a future you do not want. You hold within you a strength far more powerful than you realize. Your destiny is shaped by your vision, your resilience, and your decision to rise again and again. No matter how many times life challenges you, where you are right now is not who you are forever. This stage is temporary, but your potential is permanent. And when you choose to believe in the future that belongs to you, nothing on earth can stop you from reaching it. The next stage of your life does not arrive by accident. It belongs to those who act with purpose, those who understand that progress is not a gift handed to us, but a responsibility we must embrace. Too many people wait for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity, or the right conditions before they move forward. But life does not reward hesitation, it rewards action. Every step you take with intention becomes a bridge to the next stage of your journey. Those who rise are not the ones who sit and hope. They are the ones who decide and act. Purpose is the force that turns confusion into clarity. It is the compass that guides you through uncertainty and keeps you moving even when motivation fades. When you live with purpose, you stop drifting and start directing your life. You choose your actions instead of being controlled by your circumstances. And every purposeful action, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are becoming. Your future is shaped not by chance, but by the decisions you make when no one is watching, the discipline you maintain when challenges arise, and the persistence you show when progress seems slow. There will be moments when acting with purpose feels difficult. Life will test your patience, shake your confidence, and tempt you to settle for less. But the ones who reach the next stage are those who continue even when the path grows heavy. They understand that discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Discipline means doing what must be done, even when you do not feel like doing it. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It means showing up for yourself day after day, because your future depends on the commitments you make today. Resilience is the companion of purpose. When setbacks come, and they will, you must rise with the determination to continue. You must believe that every obstacle carries a lesson, every failure carries wisdom, and every delay carries preparation. The path to the next stage is rarely smooth, but resilience keeps you focused on the possibilities ahead rather than the difficulties behind. It reminds you that progress is built from persistence, not perfection. The people who transform their lives are not the ones who avoid challenges, but the ones who use challenges as fuel to push forward. And above all, the next stage belongs to those who trust in their future. Faith in yourself, faith in your journey, and faith in the vision you hold. You may not see the entire path, but you must believe that your steps matter. Your effort matters. Your growth matters. When you act with purpose, you send a message to life itself, I am ready for more. And life responds by opening doors you never knew existed. So do not wait for permission to grow. Do not wait for signs or perfect conditions. Begin where you are with what you have and move forward with intention. Because the next stage of your life is not something you stumble into. It is something you rise into through purposeful action, unwavering discipline, and unshakable faith in the future you are building.